Okay, now we're going to do a few turn examples. We're going to start with the red player. Now let's begin by looking at the destination tickets that the red player has. The red player has from Portland to Phoenix, so if they connect Portland to Phoenix, they'll get 11 points. Boston to Miami, they will get 12 points. And Sault Ste. Marie to Nashville, they will get 8 points. So while the red player is taking his or her turn, they will be keeping in mind the destination tickets that they're trying to fulfill when choosing which routes to claim. For right now, we're going to focus on Portland to Phoenix since it's worth the most points. Actually, I'm sorry, Boston to Miami is worth the most points. So we're going to focus on Boston to Miami. All right, so let's look at the red player's hand. Red player has a pretty varied hand to begin with. So the red player on his first turn is going to begin by drawing train car cards because we're going to try to connect Boston to Miami. So we're going to start off by trying to claim this yellow route here. So the red player is going to draw 2 train car cards. Red player has a yellow card, so let's start off by drawing this yellow train car card. Remember, as soon as you draw a train car card from the face-up pile, you will immediately replace it. Red player still gets to draw a second card, and we are going to draw this orange card because we're looking at our path from Boston to Miami, and we see that there's some orange here. So we will replace that, and that will end the red player's turn. Okay, so now we are on the green player's turn. Let's begin by looking at the green player's destination tickets. So we have Seattle to New York, worth 22 points, Toronto to Miami, worth 10 points, and Montreal to New Orleans, worth 13 points. When we play the green player's turns, we are going to focus on Seattle to New York since it is worth the most points. So let's look at the green player's hand. So the green player has 1 wild, 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 green. And the green player wants to try to get from Seattle to, New York. So the green player wants to get from Seattle to New York. So the green player is actually going to begin by claiming this route right here by playing 1 red and 1 wild as a red. Just remember, you play your train car cards into the discard pile. This route, you have to have 2 red train car cards. The green player played 1 red and 1 wild. The green player will claim this route by placing their train cars on the route. Then the green player will score that route. A route that is 2 train cars in length is worth 2 points. So we will advance the green player 2 points on the score track, and that will end the green player's turn. Okay, now it is the blue player's turn. Let's look at the blue player's destination ticket cards. The blue player has New York to Atlanta, Denver to Pittsburgh, and Montreal to Atlanta. Now we are going to focus on the one that's worth the most points, which is Denver to Pittsburgh. Now, for the purposes of the video, we're focusing on the ones that are worth the most points, but when you actually play the game, you can focus on any of your destination tickets that you want to, or you can focus on multiple destination tickets at the same time. So let's look at Denver to Pittsburgh. Let's look at the blue player's hand. So the blue player has 1 wild, 2 blues, and 1 orange. So looking at Denver to Pittsburgh on the map, we're going to go ahead and try to focus on connecting Denver to Kansas City. So for that, we either need 4 blacks or 4 oranges. Now looking back at our hand, we have 1 orange and 1 wild. So the blue player is going to choose to draw train car cards on their turn, and the blue player is going to choose to draw the wild card from the 5 face-up train car cards. So remember, if you choose to draw a face-up wild card, that is the only card that you can draw on your turn. So that will end the blue player's turn. Okay, now it's the red player's turn. And just as a reminder, for the red player, we're focusing on trying to complete Boston to Miami. Now, the red player was trying to claim this route. However, the green player has already claimed one of those routes, because if you remember, in a 2 to 3 player game, only one player can claim a route that has a double route on it. So the red player is going to have to connect Boston to Miami another way, and the only way that they can go is this way. So the red player will go ahead and, because if you remember the gray routes, you can use any train car color to complete those routes. So we have a route that is a length of 2. So the red player is going to spend 2 yellow train car cards to complete that route. So we will discard those 2 yellow train car cards, and we will place 2 red train cars on that route. 2 red train car, or a route that's a length of 2 train cars is worth 2 points. So we will move the red player up 2 on the score track, and that will end the red player's turn. Okay, now it's the green player's turn, and if you remember, we were going to focus on Seattle to New York with the green player. Now, the green player had originally planned on going around this way to get to Seattle from New York. However, the red player has claimed this route, so that has blocked the green player from being able to go this way. So the green player is going to have to take a different path to get from New York to Seattle. The green player has a blue and a green card in their hand. The green player is going to try to go for this route right here. So we need to draw some more cards. So for the green player's turn, the green player is going to draw 2 cards. And the green player will draw 1 green from the face-up cards, immediately replace. And the green player will draw this blue from the face-up cards. Okay, it's the blue player's turn. If we remember, we're trying to get the blue player from Denver to Pittsburgh. This is the destination ticket that we are focusing on. Now let's look at the blue player's hand. So the blue player has decided that they are going to go ahead and claim this route from Pittsburgh to Chicago, and that will get them 1 step closer from connecting Pittsburgh to Denver. So the blue player either needs 3 orange cards or 3 black cards to complete that route. Well, the blue player has 1 orange card and 2 wilds, so we're going to discard these in order to claim that 3-length orange route. Now we're going to score that. A route that is a length of 3 is 4 points, so we're going to move the blue player up 4 on the score track. And that will end the blue player's turn. Okay, so it's the red player's turn, and again, we're focusing on Boston to Miami with the red player. So the red player does not particularly have a very good hand, so we're going to go ahead and draw for the red player's turn. The red player needs to get from Boston to Miami, so we're going to try to go this way, which means that we need to claim the Montreal to New York route, which is 3 blue train car cards. Well, we have 1 blue train car card in our hand. Now, if we look at the cards available to draw from the 5 face-up, there aren't any blues and there aren't any wilds. So for the blue player's turn, we're going to draw both cards blindly from the deck and hope we get lucky. We have a red and we have a white. So we didn't get lucky, but we already had a white in our hand, so that could benefit us later on in the game. Okay, so it is the green player's turn. And as a reminder, the green player, we are going to focus on Seattle to New York. So let's look at the green player's hand. Green player has 2 blues and 2 greens. So we're going to go ahead and use these 2 greens, place those in the discard pile, to claim this route right here from New York to Pittsburgh. And a route that's a length of 2 train cars is worth 2 points. So we're going to move green up 2 on the score track. So now green is 1 step closer from getting to Seattle from New York. Okay, so it's the blue player's turn. And as a reminder, the blue player is focusing on connecting Denver to Pittsburgh. Now on the blue player's previous turn, we connected Pittsburgh to Chicago. And in our hand, we have 2 blue train car cards. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is when you claim a route on the map, you can literally claim a route anywhere on the map as long as you have the cards available. So you don't have to claim a route that's connected to a city that you're already connected to. It could be anywhere. So we're going to go ahead and spin these 2 blue train car cards to connect St. Louis to Kansas City. And that will get us 2 points. Now, when you do something like this, you are taking a risk because the other players could assume that the blue player is going to try to claim one of these 2 routes so they can connect their continuous route. So the blue player is taking a chance because the other 2 players could claim one of these 2 routes to block the blue player's path. But sometimes you have to do that in this game. So that will end the blue player's turn. Okay, so let's look at end of game scoring. So the game is over. Now I've gone ahead and scored the final scoring for the red player and the blue player, and we're going to do the scoring together for the green player. Now the red player ends with a final score of 105. The red player completed Calgary to Phoenix for 13 points, Boston to Miami for 12 points, Portland to Phoenix for 11 points, Sault Ste. Marie to Nashville for 8 points. And then the red player lost 9 points because the red player did not connect Sault Ste. Marie to Oklahoma City. So the red player ends the game with 105 points. Also, the red player did not claim the longest continuous route. Now the blue player ends the game with a measly 85 points. The blue player completed Winnipeg to Houston for 12 points, Denver to Pittsburgh for 11 points, Duluth to El Paso for 10 points, and Montreal to Atlanta for 9 points. The blue player failed to connect San Francisco to Atlanta and lost 17 points. The blue player failed to connect New York to Atlanta and lost 6 points. Also, the blue player did not have the longest continuous path. However, the blue player was second place for the longest continuous path. So the blue player ends the game with 85 points. Now, the green player. The game has ended. Everyone else has completed their final scoring except for the green player. So right now the green player is at 72 points. We double checked the scoring for all the routes that the green player completed throughout the game. Now we will go ahead and score up the green player's points from their destination tickets and subtract any points from any destination tickets the green player did not complete. The green player had the longest continuous path because the green player connected Miami all the way to Seattle. So the green player is going all the way around the map. And this ends up making the green player the player with the longest continuous path. So that will get the green player 10 points. So we go from 72 to 82. The green player connected Seattle to New York. Let's look at that on the map. So here's New York. The green player connected all the way to Seattle. So that will get the green player 22 points, which will take the green player from 82 to 104. So that's been scored. The green player connected Los Angeles to Miami. So let's look at that. Here's Miami. Connected all the way to Los Angeles. So that will score the green player 20 points, which will bring the green player to 124. The green player connected Dallas to New York. Let's look at that. Here's New York, and there's Dallas. That will get the green player 11 points, which will take the green player to 35. And finally, the green player connected Toronto to Miami. So let's look at that. Here's Toronto, here's Miami, and the green player is connected. That will get the green player 10 points, which will take the green player to 45 points. Now, the green player failed to connect Montreal to New Orleans. Let's look at that. So the green player is not even connected to Montreal. So yeah, the green player came close, but got blocked by other players before they had a chance to make the connection. So the green player will lose 13 points from that ticket, which will bring the green player from 45 to 32. So the green player ends the game with 132 points. Red player ends the game with 105 points. Blue player ends the game with 85 points. So the green player is the winner. Okay, so yeah, that's how you play Ticket to Ride. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Of course, if you have any questions about the game, any comments, or if I made a mistake in the video, please feel free to throw a comment down and let me know or ask your questions. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. There will be more to come, and I hope you all have a great day.